Welcome to Valmiki Ramayan in English. Let's meet the creator behind it all, Dr. T.K. Bansal. What's so amazing is that he's a blind scientist from the University of Oxford, and he is on a pretty ambitious mission. Basically, he's presenting this ancient story for a whole new generation. He's taking the classic Valmiki Ramayan and turning it into modern English videos. The whole point is just to make this incredible story accessible to literally everyone.
And you know what? This is actually where you can help out.
It's really simple to support the project. Just like the videos, share, and subscribe.
Seriously, every little bit of engagement helps this amazing vision reach more people.
Imagine this scenario for a second. You are standing in a war room and you're surrounded by your peers. The atmosphere is just thick with tension.
Right.
And you have this map spread out in front of you. It covers exactly 1/4 of the known world. And you are handed a mission that is, statistically speaking, completely impossible.
It's essentially a suicide mission.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have exactly 1 month, 30 days to traverse this map. You have to cross deserts that will dry you out in an hour, navigate oceans teeming with monsters the size of islands.
And climb mountains made of solid diamond.
All right, and dodge creatures that can pick up elephants like they're field mice.
It sounds exactly like the setup for a high-stakes tabletop role-playing game. Or, a massive summer blockbuster.
But it's not. And here's the real kicker. There are no extensions. If you fail to find what you're looking for, or even if you just happen to be late coming back, the penalty is death. Execution by your own king.
Which is an absolutely terrifying proposition. But yeah, this isn't fiction from a modern movie studio. This is the highly specific military briefing found in Sarga 42 of the Kishkindha from the Valmiki Ramayana.
Today we are doing a deep dive into what you could call the Wild West of the ancient Indian imagination. We are looking at the specific orders King Sugriva gives to his monkey army, the Vanaras, who are sent to the west to find Sita.
And this is not just some vague instruction to go west until you hit the water.
No, not at all.
It is a detailed journey that starts in grounded reality and ends literally at the very edge of the universe.
It really is a fascinating text because it blends what we might call real geography with these massive metaphysical boundaries. It starts with dusty trails and ends where the sun physically goes to die.
So let's kind of set the scene here. We are in the middle of a massive military mobilization.
Sugriva isn't just sitting on a throne reciting poetry. He is acting as a supreme military strategist. He is dispatching 4 different search parties in 4 different directions.
But for this deep dive, we are focusing exclusively on the Western expedition.
Correct. And before we even look at the map itself, we really have to look at the leadership, because this tells us so much about the social dynamics of the Vanars.
Right. Sugriva doesn't just pick a random general for the West. He picks Sushina.
And Sushina isn't just some guy. There is a very heavy personal connection there.
It is a massive connection. Sushina is Sugriva's father-in-law. He is the father of Tara, Sugriva's wife. And the text explicitly describes Sugriva approaching Sushina, bowing to him with clasped hands and speaking with immense respect.
Wait, let's pause on that for a second. Sugriva is the king. He's the guy ordering the executions if they're late, but he is bowing to his subordinate.
That is the real beauty of the social nuance in this source. Sugriva is the supreme commander, yes, but in social hierarchy, Sushina is the elder. So Sugriva navigates this beautifully.
He bows to show family respect, but then he gives the direct order to march.
Exactly. It shows that social hierarchy and family respect persist even in a tense war room scenario. It tells the troops that this mission is being led by wisdom, not just raw power.
And speaking of power, Sugriva doesn't send Sushina alone. He packs this team with heavy hitters.
The roster is absolutely stacked. The text mentions Arkashman and Maricha.
The notes describe them as sons of the sage Marichi, and it says they are like Indra or Garuda in splendor.
These guys are essentially the special forces of the operation. Marichi is one of the mind-born sons of Brahma, the creator. So Arkashman and Maricha are semi-divine figures.
We aren't foot soldiers. They're walking nukes.
Which makes total sense, because as soon as we look at the terrain Sugriva describes, you realize a normal soldier wouldn't last 2 days out there.
Let's trace this route. They start from their capital, Kishkindha, and head west. Now, the first leg of the journey is actually grounded in reality. Sugriva mentions nations like Saurashtra, Balika, and Chandrachitra.
Saurashtra is a region we actually know that is historically associated with the Gujarat Peninsula.
All right, so historically this checked out. But notice how he describes the terrain leading up to the coast. He uses the term marubumi.
Marubumi,
Wow.
which translates to desert land.
Yes. He warns them about marubumi, describing it as having very high, cold rocks and being generally inaccessible.
So before they even hit the ocean, they are trekking through a rugged, unforgiving dry zone. It is physically exhausting.
But amidst this harshness, Sugriva drops these incredibly specific botanical details. He tells them to look through punaga forests, bakula trees, and udalaka trees, and specifically kavada forests.
The kavada or screw pine is very common in coastal India.
Yeah.
This is what makes the Ramayana so brilliant. It doesn't just say there were some trees.
It lists the specific species you would actually find in that exact ecosystem.
It completely grounds the narrative. It tells you, as the listener, this is a real place. You can go there and smell these flowers.
It adds this rich layer of authenticity. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I know these trees, I know this desert, but then they hit the coast, the Western Ocean.
Which contextually, we're likely looking at the Arabian Sea.
And this is where the genre entirely shifts from a travelogue to a monster movie. Sugriva warns them that the water is dangerous. It is not for swimming. He says it is teeming with teemy fish.
I love this detail. In ancient texts, Timi and Timingila represent the apex predators of the ocean. Huge creatures, like whales, but mythical in scale.
And he mentions huge crocodiles, too. The ocean here is a hazard, not a resource.
Right, and he gives them very specific targets to search along the coast. Cities like Muravi-Patana, which some scholars actually link to the modern city of Morvi and Jadapura.
Oh, and Angalepa. And did you catch the specific note about Avanti?
Yes, he specifically says to search Avanti on the banks of the river. But the notes highlight that this is not the famous Avanti in the east.
Exactly. It is a crucial military distinction. Imagine sending a battalion to Washington without clarifying if you mean D.C. or the state.
Sugriva is being hyper-precise. He does not want his army getting lost.
So they scour the coast, checking coconut forests and tamala forests, but then they reach the confluence of the Sindhu River, the Indus, and the ocean. And this is where we basically leave the real map behind.
This is the major threshold. The text introduces us to Somagiri, or Soma Mountain. It is described as having 100 peaks and being covered in massive trees.
But the geography isn't even the main attraction here. It is the ecosystem.
The wildlife here is mind-blowing. The text describes simha birds.
Simha usually means lion, but here it refers to these massive birds, perhaps winged lions or griffins that live on the mountain peaks.
And Sugriva describes their strengths in a way that just creates a terrifying sense of scale.
He says these birds are so strong they fly out to the ocean, pick up those giant teemy whales we just talked about, and carry them back to their nests like they are goldfish.
It is classic mythological scaling. You establish that the whale is a giant monster, and then you introduce a bird that eats the whale for breakfast.
It immediately tells you that you are in a domain of giants.
But the part that really stopped me in my tracks, the part that is just wild, is the elephants.
Oh, the happy prey.
Yes. The text says the elephants on Somagiri are actually proud to be eaten by these birds, that they feel honored by the danger.
It is such a bizarre but deeply poetic detail. The text describes these elephants roaming the peaks, roaring like clouds, totally satisfied with their fate.
It is such a flip on how we view nature today. We think of survival of the fittest, running away, hiding fear. But here, the ecosystem operates on a code of honor.
It suggests that on this holy mountain, even the animals are noble.
Exactly. They aren't victims. They are participants in a grand, majestic cycle. It really elevates the setting. This isn't just a food chain. It is a warrior's ecosystem.
It essentially tells the Vinaras that they are entering a place where courage is the only currency.
So Sugriva tells them to search the mountain, look for Sita, but don't stay, because the mission moves offshore. We're going island hopping.
The first major stop in the deep sea is Paryatra Mountain. It is described as a golden peak 100 yojanas wide.
Just to clarify for you listening, yojana is an ancient measure of distance. It varies, but it is roughly 8 to 9 miles.
So 100 yojanas is massive, like an 800-mile wide island.
Huge. But the challenge at Paryatra isn't the size of the island. It is the locals. This mountain is home to 24 million Gandharvas.
And Gandharvas are usually depicted as celestial musicians, right? Handsome artistic beings.
Usually, yes. But here they are described as fire-like and immensely powerful. They are fierce guardians.
And this is where Sugriva the strategist shines yet again. He gives a very specific rule of engagement.
Do not touch the fruit.
It sounds like a fairy tale rule, doesn't it?
But it is pure pragmatism. He says the Gandharvas guard the fruits and roots of this island fiercely. Sugriva tells the monkeys, look, you are strong. You're essentially demigods, but do not start a fight here.
It is a stealth mission. If you get into a brawl over a mango with 24 million fire demons, you are not going to find Sita. You are just going to die.
Exactly. It emphasizes discipline. Imagine being a hungry soldier surrounded by golden fruit and having strict orders to starve rather than compromise in the mission.
That is the ultimate test Sushina has to enforce.
Moving on from there, they hit Vajra Mountain. The visual description here is stunning.
It is blue like lapis lazuli viduria, but hard as diamond. Hence the name Vajra, which means thunderbolt or diamond.
And the geography completely changes from open peaks to a complex cave system. The army is ordered to search every single cave in this 100-yojana structure.
It implies a deeply tedious, dangerous subterranean search.
Okay, let's unpack the next location because this is where the geography starts to act like a history book. They reach Chakravan Mountain.
Located in the fourth part of the ocean, the name Chakravan comes from Chakra the wheel, and the text identifies this place as the cosmic forge.
This is where Vishwakarma, the architect of the gods, built the Sudarshan chakra.
For anyone who might not know, the Sudarshan chakra is the ultimate weapon of Lord Vishnu. It is a spinning serrated disc with 108 edges.
It is the nuclear option of Hindu mythology, and Sugriva says this is exactly where it was built.
But it is not just a factory, it is a battlefield. Sugriva explains that this is where Lord Vishnu fought and killed the demons Panchajanya and Hayagriva.
Right, he sees the famous conch shell, the Panchajanya, and the chakra itself from these demons right there.
I love how the map serves as a theology lesson. Sugriva isn't just saying go to that mountain. He is saying go to the place where the greatest weapons in the universe were won.
It adds tremendous weight to the journey. The monkeys aren't just walking on dirt, they are walking on the sites of divine victory.
It reminds them of the scale of the conflict they're in. They are fighting for Rama, who is an avatar of that same Vishnu. It is a massive morale boost disguised as directions.
And immediately after that heavy history lesson, they hit Varaha Mountain,
which is 64 yojanas deep into the sea, and it has a city of gold called Pragyotisha.
This sounds exactly like El Dorado,
Yeah.
a golden city in the middle of the sea.
But it is a trap. This is the lair of the villain. The text mentions the wicked demon Narakasura lives here.
So the monkeys have to search a golden city inhabited by a demon king. That sounds incredibly dangerous.
It really is. Sugriva is sending them into the heart of darkness. He tells them to search the caves, search the city, but keep moving. Because the further west they go, the more surreal the landscape becomes.
That brings us to Megagiri, the Cloud Mountain. The source describes this place with such vivid audio visuals. It says the mountain has 10,000 waterfalls.
Can you even imagine the sound? 10,000 waterfalls crashing down simultaneously. The decibel level would be earth-shattering.
And there is this great detail about the acoustics. The text says the noise is so overwhelming that the lions and tigers living there get totally confused.
It is a feedback loop. The lions roar, they hear the echo bouncing off the caves, they think it is a rival predator, so they roar back even louder.
It is a perpetual engine of angry noise.
It is a totally chaotic environment, but like everything else in this briefing, it has a regal history. This is where Indra, the king of gods, was crowned.
It is a site of coronation amidst the absolute chaos. It suggests that Order Indra's rule emerges from the noise and raw power of nature.
And past that, well, here is where it gets really interesting. We move past the chaos into something that sounds almost blinding. The 60,000 golden mountains.
We are approaching the solar realm now. These 60,000 mountains are described as shining like the sun. They are so bright they are indistinguishable from the light itself.
And right in the middle of them stands Meru,
The king of mountains. Now we hear about Meru in a lot of texts. Is usually the axis mundi, the center of the world. But here the focus is entirely on its relationship with the sun.
Yes, the text mentions a specific boon. The sun god Surya was pleased with Meru and granted it a gift. Anything that touches you will turn to gold.
It is the Midas touch, but on a geological scale.
And it says that the gods, the Visvadevas, the Vesas, the Maruts, they all come to Meru at sunset to worship the sun.
It is the ultimate transition point. The sun is honored here before it begins its final descent.
Which leads us to the final frontier, the literal edge of the world. Astachala, the sunset mountain.
Now, pay close attention to the physics here because this is where the text gets strangely precise about the cosmos. Sugriva states that Astachala is 10,000 yoshanas away from Meru.
That is a massive distance, roughly 80,000 miles.
But he says the sun covers it in half a muhurta.
A muhurta is about 48 minutes. So half a Muhurta is roughly 24 minutes.
Wait, let me just make sure I have the math right. So the sun travels 80,000 miles in 24 minutes.
That is about 200,000 miles per hour.
It really highlights the incredible plummeting speed of the setting sun as it races toward the horizon. It's not a gentle sunset. It is a high-speed dive into the darkness.
And what is sitting on this sunset mountain? A palace.
A palace built by Vishwakarma for Varuna, the Lord of the Waters. It is filled with diverse trees and birds, but there's one landmark that stands out, acting as a beacon.
The golden palm tree.
A nulty-headed palm tree with 10 branches sitting on a strange altar. It shines brilliantly. It is a surreal golden structure right at the end of the world.
And there is someone there, right? A guide for the end of the line.
Yes, the sage Marusavarni. He is described as being like Brahma, a figure of immense cosmic authority.
Sugriva gives a very specific instruction here. He doesn't say search the sage or interrogate the sage. He says bow to him.
Ask him about Sita.
Exactly. Marusavarni is the ultimate intelligence source in the West. He sits right at the boundary of light and dark.
If anyone knows what is past the boundary of the sun, it is him. The monkeys are told to be humble, prostrate themselves on the ground, and ask for information.
And then Sugriva drops the hammer. He defines the absolute boundary of the mission.
He says, beyond this, there is no sun, no borders. I do not know what lies past the sunset.
That gave me chills reading it. I do not know. Here is a king who seems to know every tree, every demon, and every rock for thousands of miles.
But he admits that past Astachala, it is just void, darkness.
It represents the absolute limit of knowledge. The mission has a hard geographical stop. They cannot search the darkness. If Sita isn't in the sunlit world, they can't find her.
It really frames the ancient worldview perfectly. There's the world of order, the world where the sun shines, and then there's the chaos beyond, where even the gods don't go.
So let's recap this epic journey. They start in the deserts of India, fight through whale-infested oceans, sneak past fire demons on forbidden islands, cross battlefields of the gods, navigate mountains of gold and diamond, and end up at the palace of the water god as the sun plunges into the abyss at 200,000 miles per hour.
It is an epic in the truest sense of the word. But we really have to remember the human, or rather the Vinara element, hanging over all of this, the deadline.
Right, the ticking clock. Sugriva is brutal about this. He ends the briefing by saying, 1 month. If you are late, I will execute you.
It changes the whole flavor of the trip.
Yeah.
They can't just admire the golden palm tree, they have to hustle. Every single minute spent fighting a Gandharva or listening to the waterfalls is a minute closer to their own death.
And he reinforces the chain of command one last time.
He tells the troops, you are strong, you are capable. But Sushina is my father-in-law and your superior. Obey him implicitly.
It is a reminder that discipline is the only way they survive this journey. Without Sushina's leadership, they are just a mob of monkeys lost in a golden city.
It is such a rich source. It blends the Indus River, something we can point to on a map today, with mountains that turn things to gold.
And that is the beauty of the Ramayana. It doesn't distinguish between the two. To the listener of that time, the crocodiles in the ocean were just as real as the 10-headed golden palm tree.
It is all one continuous reality. It is a psychogeography, a map of the mind as much as the earth.
It really makes you wonder about that final boundary, the unknown. We look at modern digital maps today, and absolutely everything is filled in, and every pixel is accounted for. But for them, there was an edge where the light just stopped.
Right. What did the ancients believe actually existed in the eternal darkness beyond the sun?
And how does this blend of real geography, like the Indus River, and cosmic geography, like the Golden Mountains, shape how they saw their place in the universe? It is something for you to just sit with and explore on your own.
That fear of the absolute unknown is probably what made the mission so terrifying. Not just the monsters they knew, but the total void they didn't.
A profound thought to end on. That is all the time we have for this deep dive into the West.
This has been an incredible journey.
We will catch you on the next deep dive. Keep exploring.
Jai Shri Ram.